Good morning, good morning, good morning. Buenos dias, mi gente, yo-yo. Welcome to Daily Discipline number 895, primarily in a row. My name's Rob Hoback. Happy that you're here, honored and humbled that you keep coming back like for reals. Hey, it is March the 30th. We got some birthdays today. Guess I'll have to remember to reach out to some people and wish them happy birthday. It's a Tuesday. On Tuesdays, we talk about having a terrific Tuesday, that if you think it's going to be a good day, chances are you're going to have a good day. And like I told Sissy in the line as I was dropping her off for school this morning, both the boys were in the car because Sam was a little bit late. We'll talk about that in a minute. But she asked me what today was, and I said, today's a great day to have a great day, sis. So just remember that, right? But we've got work to do. It's a work day. So let's do it. First things first, still the realist. You know what else I am? Human, right? You know, I come on here yesterday and talk about controlling ourselves, about the number one most important skill is to tell yourself no. And then last night I made breakfast for dinner, and with breakfast for dinner we had to have bacon. So we cooked a lot of bacon, and I ate way too much bacon. I'm human, right? Like I struggle with it too. Even when I said don't eat more of that bacon, it was calling my name. Anyway, on to our real talk. Raising future champions here in BFOK. Yeah, I want to give you guys a couple examples. So this morning, got up and I wanted to talk to my boss. And so we agreed I was going to call him at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So it was actually about 5 after 7, but by the time I called him, was struggling getting Sam up, right? And it's like, look, either you can be a jerk about it and start yelling, or you can be kind, right? Like I understand what it's like being tired. I understand what it's like being a teenager and not... time change, it takes time, right? So I'm trying to be patient with him, get him up, and then he comes out about 10 minutes before we're supposed to leave. He's like, hey, I'm just going to have to be late because I thought I had more clothes over here than I do, and we're going to have to go buy Mama's. I'm like, okay, fine. No big deal, right? Like it's another 10, 15 minutes out of my day, but it's like, what am I going to do, right? Like yelling about it now, then it just put him in the ditch all day. I'll be upset. Just accept it, and we're moving on, right? The conversation I had with Sissy this morning as we were getting ready, she was telling me about how Jack didn't, he wanted his hair cut because his bangs were in his eyes. So I was like, hey, can I brush your hair? He's like, sure. And Sissy just over there like, oh, couldn't believe it. Then he let me put some mousse in his hair so that his hair was kind of slicked back a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? This whole being patient and not being, not being a jerk, not insisting that everything being perfect, it's working, right? And I'm teaching my kids good life lessons that I then remind them, be like, hey, I'm showing you a good life lesson here, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Because they need to understand why those things happen. And then after we dropped the kids off, Sam and I had a real honest conversation, which just, I'm not going to divulge what we talked about, but it's just an honest conversation about life and about how people say things. And I owned up to it. I'm like, look, man, for a long time, I talked about, things. Things were going to be a certain way, but I didn't have a plan to back it up. And then I was missing the action step, right? And, that's always the missing ingredient is working hard, right? And we talked about, I'm like, look, last night when you came home from work, he asked me to play basketball with him. I tried, had a really bad headache, right? And so, we played for a little bit, and when Sissy asked me, she's like, hey, Daddy, is your headache feeling better? This is as I was serving them dinner. I said, yeah, why? And she's like, well, maybe we can go back outside afterwards. I'm like, that's a great idea. And that's where we fell down. After dinner, bro went into his room as I was cleaning up. There was basketball on TV, and I forgot my ratios, right? I forgot that I should be watching more basketball than I should be playing basketball. And I sat down and justified my behavior because I had a headache. And I should have gotten back up and went and played basketball with him. And I talked to him about that this morning. Like, don't be afraid to remind me of that, because what got us here isn't going to get us where we need to go. And always what's missing is converting some energy that we're devoting towards things that aren't the things that are going to get us where we want to go. And somebody within our circle just nudge us like, hey, over here. We need to be over here, right? Don't need to yell about it. Nobody responds well to that, right? Just raising future champions down here in BFOK and reminding my son, be like, look, man, even though we didn't do the second part, the first part, how many kids on your team do you think were playing a competitive game of one-on-one in the driveway with their dad? He's like, none of them. I'm like, exactly. So we outworked him yesterday. Guess what? Nobody cares. We got to work hard. We got to do it again today, right? And he's just over there smiling, and I'm smiling inside because I know he's getting it, right? Just raising future champions. Love it. Love it. Our reminders in that vein, be consistent, right? It's not just for parents, it's for all of us, right? Just like the sign says, they see what we try to hide. Who are they? The people that we're trying to hide things from. People we work with, people in our family. Like, we think we're so smart that, like, they know. Most of us just don't say anything about it, though, right? So be consistent. Like, if you're going to say, hey, it's got to be this way, you have to do it too, right? Be aware that they're aware, right? Be present. Man, there's a guy in my circle talks about this all the time, that, you know, how much more he's picking up now that he's present in his kids' lives. Let's do our thank yous and we're done for the day. Number one, God is good. God is good. Thankful for daddy duty. You know, all those life lessons that I learned within it. I'm going to start calling it sage advice. Sam, Addie, Jack, right? Sage minus the. Sage advice that I give my kids. Like, man, I got to apply that to my own life and remember, right, that if I'm not consistent, if my actions don't match that, I have to be aware of that and I have to be present, right? Like, if I'm going to give them advice, I can't just be the guy that's like driving by throwing advice at a problem. Thankful for all of the examples of how to live my life, how not to live my life, the examples that I should pass on to my kids, things I should talk about here. And I'm thankful for my life. I'm also thankful for y'all. With that, we're done. Hands up. Peace out. We're better together. Appreciate you stopping by on a terrific Tuesday. Remember, it's a great day to have a great day, and come back tomorrow and bring a friend. Deuces. # Real Talk. You know what time it is tomorrow, don't you, Aunt Barb? Hump day. All right. We'll see you then. Bye.